rushed to safety. And they will point to the president's words at that rally that came just before the storming of the Capitol and what he repeatedly claimed about the election for weeks leading up to the riots. Tomorrow, the senators will be sworn in as jurors. We have already reported here Senate leaders have agreed to delay the actual start of the trial. And this time, Chief Justice John Roberts will not preside over the trial. So tonight, who will? And where do things stand among Republicans? Democrats would need 17 Republicans to join them to convict. ABC's Rachel Scott on the Hill tonight, leading us off.
Tonight, just moments away from history, the House preparing to deliver that article of impeachment to the Senate, setting the stage for the second impeachment trial of former President Donald Trump. It has been just 19 days since that deadly mob of Trump supporters stormed the Capitol, egged on by the president himself in a desperate effort to overturn the election.
If you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country.
Oh, Donald Trump, God damn.
I'll be there with you.
They're going to hide up Hitler.
That's what started right there.
Yeah.
That's what started when they said that shit. Yeah. Look at that, baby.
This cheese views on politics. Listen, y'all. He going to say damn about 7 times. Damn.
That's qualified for counting.
He's not demonstrated.
No, it is.
He's not
You
even
ready, honey?
acknowledged his role in the events of
Let's go
January
get something to
6th.
eat.
And he has never disavowed the lies that were fed to the American people by him about who actually won the election.
The single article of impeachment charges that the president's offenses extend beyond his words at that rally. It also accuses him of trying to subvert and obstruct the results of the election by pressuring the Georgia Secretary of State to find nearly 12,000 votes to help him win.
So what are we going to do here, folks? I only need 11,000 votes. Fellas, I need 11,000 votes. Give me a break.
Democrats claim Trump gravely endangered the security of the United States and its institutions of government.
He knew exactly what he was doing, and the outcome was deadly.
The big question tonight, will Trump be convicted? Democrats need 17 Republican senators to vote with them. A handful, like Mitt Romney, seem open.
Incitement to insurrection is an impeachable offense. If not, what is?
Other Republicans attacking the whole idea of putting the former president on trial.
I think the trial is stupid, and I think it's counterproductive. We already have a flaming fire in this country, and it's like taking a bunch of gasoline and pouring
Let's see his first runner.
Okay. We're going to hear the arguments.
You know, I'm gonna go now, because
Rachel
you
Scott
get
on
that
the Hill
myself,
tonight, and Rachel tomorrow. Senators will also be sworn in as jurors.
Hey, when you
But
want
the
to go from
leaders
that?
have already
Yeah,
agreed
let's
the
go
trial
do
itself won't get underway until the week
Okay,
of February 8th. And tonight we've also learned that Chief Justice John Roberts
No, I'm about to go
will be
turn it on.
presiding. That's a change from the first Trump
Oh,
impeachment
it's
trial.
probably
You'll
cold.
fill us in on that. And we'll hear among Republicans tonight that key number of Democrats will need 17 for a conviction of the former president.
And David, Republican leader Mitch McConnell has said that he is keeping an open mind. He has not yet decided how he will vote in this trial. And so far, we have not heard from a single Republican senator who said they plan to vote to convict former President Donald Trump. And you mentioned that change with who will preside over this impeachment trial. The Constitution says the Chief Justice will preside over impeachment trial of the president. But Donald Trump is no longer in office. So now you'll see Senator Patrick Leahy step in to preside over this trial. He's the longest.
God damn. Sorry, y'all.
We'll be taking
This
a
shit scared me.
special oath to do impartial justice. But Leahy, as a sitting U.S.
I don't want to hear about it. I want to know about my goddamn stimulus check, bitches.
All right, Rachel Scott leading us off on this.
Stimulate my motherfucking bank account. God damn.
In the meantime, we turn next
I'm
tonight
opening
to
the
the
joke.
coronavirus.
I want 55 push-ups. Them words I just said. Lord, please forgive me.
Vaccine, one shot, will actually be able to get one in this country. Also tonight, growing concern over the vaccine supply in the U.S. And will the vaccines work against these new variants? Tonight, Pfizer and Moderna believe their vaccines do work against that UK variant seen here in the U.S. But there is concern about a variant seen in South Africa. Tonight, vaccine maker Moderna, for one, trying to stay one step ahead, testing a modified version of its vaccine against that South Africa variant. Not seen in the U.S. yet. It would be used potentially as a booster. We will continue to report on that. The virus now taking at least 420,000 American lives. President Biden still saying he believes a critical mass of Americans could be vaccinated by this spring. As one of his own senior advisors, though, cautioned it could take until the fall. Here's ABC's Eva Pilgrim tonight.
Tonight, as states struggle to vaccinate millions with dwindling supply, the president says he's hopeful Americans who want a vaccine will be able to get one by spring.
I think it'll be this spring. I think we'll be able to do that this spring. I feel confident that by summer, we're going to be well on our way to heading toward herd immunity.
The president warning the death toll could top 600,000 before things get better. He's now aiming for 1.5 million doses every day.
I think we may be able to get that to 150. 1.5 million a day rather than 1 million a day.
Hours earlier, his vaccine advisor cautioned it could be the fall before every American is vaccinated.
The bottom line is, I wish I could tell you there's plenty of vaccine and we can fill all these endless amounts of appointments. We can't.
Dr. David Kessler says vaccinating the country by April and May is just not going to happen.
I think this is going to take us into the fall. We got to get there before next winter.
Nearly 22 million of the 41 million doses distributed have been administered. The Trump administration had hoped to reach 20 million by the end of December. The need for vaccines more urgent than ever. The UK variant, already in at least 26 states, is more contagious, and British health officials warn it could also be more deadly. Dr. Fauci saying he believes those British scientists.
They became convinced that it is, in fact, a bit more virulent, namely making it more difficult when you get to the point of serious disease and even death. So I believe their data.
The vaccines work against the variant, but one study showing the Moderna vaccine may be less protective against the South African strain. So the company is now studying a possible booster shot.
We need to keep watching and testing against it and making sure until we've got it beaten back that we're planning ahead and we're being careful.
The U.S. now barring non-U.S. citizens from traveling from South Africa, in addition to Brazil, the UK, Ireland, and 26 countries across Europe. More contagious variants threatening to reverse new signs of hope, like a decline in deaths and hospitalizations in this country. California today lifting its stay-at-home order across much of the state.
We've been struggling and, we were worried, but this is a little bit of a weight off the shoulder. So it's a little bit. There's the weight on the shoulder, so we'll see what happens.
We all feel that way. Eva Pilgrim with us now at some mass vaccination site. She's at the Javits Center here in New York City. And Eva, as we reported, Pfizer and Moderna believe that their vaccines do work against these variants, the UK variant seen here in the US. Moderna late today saying they're possibly looking at a booster for the vaccine in light of that South Africa variant that's been concerning, not yet seen here. Trying to help people at home keep track of all this, because at this hour, we're just now learning that a variant seen in Brazil is now being seen here in the US.
That's right, David. Just moments ago, we learned that we have our first confirmed case of that Brazilian variant. It is a patient in Minnesota who officials there say had traveled to Brazil recently, returned to Minnesota, and then reported feeling ill. And that is concerning because that Brazilian variant is thought to be more contagious. David?
All right, Eva Pilgrim with us tonight. Eva, thank you. And as you heard Eva report there, the one encouraging note tonight that cases have now started to come down after the Christmas holiday surge that we witnessed. But authorities caution, of course, do not let our guard down, particularly with these variants. And overseas tonight, the UK, where that variant swept through and quickly, what they're now seeing firsthand. Here's our foreign correspondent, Ian Pell, tonight.
And potentially more deadly UK variants playing out in British hospitals, already stretched thin as they struggle to treat a seemingly endless tide of patients. Medics pleading for help as they face record numbers on wards, in ICUs and on ventilators. More than 3,500 patients admitted today alone.
I feel like I want to cry in many moments.
Despite a lockdown and success rolling out the vaccine, the UK with one of the highest death rates in the world, now closing in on 100,000. And hospitals remain as busy as any time in this pandemic. Better treatment means more survivors, but the stress on staff and resources is relentless. After this, neurosurgeon Dolin Bhagawati told me today that already exhausted hospital staff are working round the clock.
Porters, cleaners, as well as doctors and nurses are exhausted because they are working all the hours that God sends, and it's still coming. It's an oncoming storm that doesn't seem to be abating.
For families and patients, the fight to beat COVID is a long one.
We've been forced ourselves in a beautiful bungalow which we're supposed to be moving into, and it's our dream. And I may not see it.
Anna Orasashi's father has been in the ICU since December 6th.
We just prayed We thank God and we praise again. He's a miracle.
Tony Brown hasn't seen his wife Linda in 7 weeks.
Oh, this sucks. Oh, really?
Well, one spot of brighter news is that the rate of vaccine injections here and in the US is growing, but concerns on both sides of the Atlantic that supplies are going to struggle to keep up with demand. David, our Ian panel from London tonight, our senior foreign correspondent, Ian, thank you. And back here at home tonight, President Biden making news on several other fronts tonight as well, overturning President Trump's policy that aimed to ban transgender troops from service. President Biden today saying it's simple, that America is safer when everyone qualified to serve can do so openly and with pride. Also tonight, the president and his Made in America push late today. And what he's now saying tonight about his $1.9 trillion COVID relief plan, which includes help for families, checks for some Americans, help for small businesses, how he plans to get Republican support. And if he doesn't, the president is asked, what then? Does he move forward without them? Here's our chief White House correspondent, Cecilia Vega, tonight.
Tonight, President Joe Biden signing an executive order reversing his predecessor's ban on transgender Americans serving in the military, one of 23 executive actions he's taken so far aimed squarely at rolling back the Trump agenda.
And what I'm doing is enabling all qualified Americans to serve their country in uniform.
And today, signing another order pushing the federal government to buy American and to publicly explain their reasoning if they decide to buy foreign.
The previous administration didn't take it seriously enough. Federal agencies waived the Buy American requirement without much pushback at all.
There's no timeline, but he wants the government's fleet of vehicles to be converted to Made in America electric, including postal vehicles. But what comes next is not something he can do with just the stroke of a pen. The president needs Congress to pass his nearly $2 trillion COVID relief package, his plan to get $1,400 checks into the hands of struggling Americans, extend unemployment benefits, help small businesses, and ramp up vaccine distribution. His goal to pass the package with support from Democrats as well as Republicans.
Here's the deal. I have been doing legislative negotiations for a large part of my life. I know how the system works.
But Republicans are already sounding the alarm, including Utah's Mitt Romney, who has signaled he's willing to negotiate with Democrats. He now says he has serious concerns about the price tag.
The total figure is pretty shocking, if you will. And the idea that we need a stimulus is a little hard to understand.
And there's already resistance from Democrats, too, who say they should use their narrow Senate majority to push through Biden's plan now, with Vice President Kamala Harris casting the deciding vote.
But what we cannot do is wait weeks and weeks and months to go forward. We have got to act now.
So let's get right to Cecilia Vega, our chief White House correspondent tonight. And Cecilia, President Biden saying today that we should know within a couple of weeks whether he will be able to get Republicans on board with his plan.
Yeah, David, he said it'll be a couple of weeks before we know exactly where Republicans stand, and time is of the essence. You'll remember that he called this a national emergency. He said he wants to do this in a bipartisan way. He wants Republican support, but he also today did not rule out the possibility of having to go at it alone with just Democrats without Republicans. But David, in a sign of where things stand exactly right now, today Mitch McConnell said this first draft, quote, misses the mark.
All right, more to come on this. Cecilia Vega, our thanks to you. We are tracking 3 dangerous storms tonight from California all the way to New York. More than half the country tonight, 27 states, under winter weather alerts this evening. This driver battling to stay on the road south of Flagstaff, Arizona. The storm hammering with planes at this hour. Incredible pictures coming in. Multiple accidents in southern Nebraska. Semis overturned on the side of the highway. Snow from the Windy City all the way to New York City by the morning with another storm on the way. Rob Marciano is tracking it all for us tonight. Hey, Rob.
Hi, David. 2 big storms and a third one behind now. And look at the radar tonight. We've got mixed precip from Delaware and D.C. all the way back to Southern California, where that low over Las Vegas is bringing some snow near the Strip. The low over Kansas City, that's really hammering Omaha, Nebraska with heavy snow. Iowa as well. Chicago, you're next. Could see over a foot of snow, over a half foot of snow there. I-80 will be mostly a mix. The snow gets in the New York Metro by mid-morning tomorrow, then pushes up to Boston and Albany by late day. Not a lot of snow in the big cities along I-95, but could see 6 to 12 inches in parts of the Midwest, and certainly dangerous driving conditions across the snow zone, and another storm behind that one. David?
A lot of Thank you, Rob. And there is late word coming in tonight. The Senate this evening now confirming President Biden's pick for Treasury Secretary. Janet Yellen tonight confirmed by a vote of 84-15. She is the first woman to hold the post. This is President Biden's third cabinet nominee to be confirmed now by the Senate. When we come back here on this Monday night, protests erupting after a police car plows through a crowd. 2 people hurt, at least 1 person reportedly run over, and there is news tonight about the officer.
I'm a performer. Always have been and always will be. Never letting anything get in my way. Not the doubts, distractions, or voice in my head. And certainly not arthritis. Voltaren provides powerful arthritis pain relief to help me keep moving. And it can help you too. Feel the joy of movement with Voltaren. Research shows people remember commercials with nostalgia. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance, here's one that'll really take you back. Customize home insurance from Liberty Mutual. Only pay for what you need. Liberty, 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 Liberty. Want eyes that wow? Try Lumify eye drops. Lumify dramatically reduces redness to help eyes look whiter and brighter for up to 8 hours. So you can show off those baby blues, hazel hues, and beautiful browns. Lumify. You won't believe your eyes. I'm still discovering what's next and still going for my best, even though I live with a high risk of stroke due to AFib, not caused by a heart valve problem. So if there's a better treatment than warfarin, I'm reaching for that. Eliquis is proven to reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, plus has significantly less major bleeding than warfarin. Eliquis is FDA approved and has both. What's next? I'm on board.
Don't stop taking Eliquis unless your doctor tells you to, as stopping increases your risk of having a stroke. Eliquis can cause serious and, in rare cases, fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve or abnormal bleeding. While taking Eliquis, you may bruise more easily, and it may take longer than usual for any bleeding to stop. Seek immediate medical care for sudden signs of bleeding, like unusual bruising. Eliquis may increase your bleeding risk if you take certain medicines. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Ask your doctor about Eliquis, and if your ability to afford your medication has changed, we want to help.
Tonight, the protests after disturbing images of a police officer ramming his car through a crowd in Tacoma, Washington. The officer's vehicle surrounded while responding to a call about street racers. He plowed through the crowd, running over and injuring at least 2 people. He says he feared for his safety. Protesters damaging buildings, setting a large fire. The officer tonight is on administrative leave. When we come back here, the Super Bowl showdown is now set, and what we've learned tonight about Tom Brady's parents and their battle against COVID.
This is my body of proof.
Proof of less joint pain and clearer skin. Proof that I can fight psoriatic arthritis.
It's Humira. Humira targets and blocks a specific source of inflammation that contributes to both joint and skin symptoms. It's proven to help relieve pain, stop further irreversible joint damage, and clear skin in many adults.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections. Serious and sometimes fatal infections, including tuberculosis and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and new or worsening heart failure. Tell your doctor if you've been to areas where certain fungal infections are common, and if you've had TB, hepatitis B, are prone to infections or have flu-like symptoms or flus. Don't start Humira if you have an infection. Ask your rheumatologist about Humira.
Go to Humira.com to see proof in action. If you can't afford your medicine, AbbVie may be able to help.
I love my babysitter. She laughs when I burp. We got her from care.com.
Go to care.com for great babysitters and nannies with profiles, reviews, and more. It costs less than you think, and we even make it easy to pay. Care.com.
You save the loss. The future of auto insurance is here. You've never been better hands. Also, click or call for a book today.
Got my hair, got my head, got my brain, got my head, got my heart, got my soul, got my love, got my love. Look to the builders.
No matter what goes wrong in this country, they're out there. Look to the families, the communities, every small town, city, and school, and know that they will endure. Because in this country, we build with something stronger than brick or steel. We build with each other. When winter hits, you have to fight back. That's why truck guys know the best defense is WeatherTech. Laser measure floor lamps protect the curtain. The underseat storage system keeps tools organized. Techliner protects the bed. Glove stuff guards the bumper from minor damage. Curve phone secures your phone. Don't let winter win. Go to WeatherTech.com and order today.
To the index, and tonight, the Super Bowl showdown now set. Tampa-based Tom Brady at 43, making history with his 10th trip to the Super Bowl, taking on the defending champ from Kansas City, 25-year-old Patrick Mahomes. We're now learning tonight Tom Brady's parents have been hospitalized with COVID at the start of the season, his father calling it a matter of life and death, but that tonight both are now happy and healthy, and that is good news. When we come back here, why it was a big day for all the rescue dogs in our country.
With new rewards from Chase Freedom Unlimited, I now earn even more cash back. Oh, I gotta tell everyone. Hey, Rita, you now earn 3% on dining, including takeout.
Bon appetit.
Hey, Kim, you now earn 5% on travel purchase through Chase.
Where are you?
Hey, Neil, you can earn 3% in drugstores.
Buddy, I'm right here. Why are you yelling?
Because that's what I do. You're always earning with 5% cash back on travel purchase through Chase. 3% in drugstores, 3% on dining, including takeout, and 1.5% on everything else you buy. Chase, make more of what you want.
Needles. Essential for pine trees, but maybe not for people with certain inflammatory conditions, because there are options, like an injection, Xeljanz. The first and only pill of its kind that treats moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis, psoriatic arthritis, or moderate to severe ulcerative colitis. When other medicines have not helped enough, Xeljanz can lower your ability to fight infections. Before and during treatment, your doctor should check for infections like TB and do blood tests. Tell your doctor if you've had hepatitis B or C, have flu-like symptoms, or are prone to infections. Serious, sometimes fatal infections, cancers, including lymphoma, and blood clots have happened. Taking a higher than recommended dose of Xeljanz for RA may increase risk of death. Tears in the stomach or intestines and serious allergic reactions have happened. Needles, fine for some things. But for you, there's a pill that may provide symptom relief. Ask your doctor about the pill first prescribed for RA more than 7 years ago. Xeljanz, an injection.
What if I could buy online at Discount Tire? Have the choice of never leaving my car when I get to the store. You can. Stay safe with our touchless service. So simple. It's genius. Find out more at discounttire.com. I need a favor. No questions asked. Don't tell anyone, not ever. This can destroy us. This is them. I can't do it again. This. You're out of time. This can only be a bad thing. All of us who weren't born yesterday, there's Consumer Cellular, premium wireless with exceptional value. Enjoy talk, text, and data for only $20 a month. U.S.-based customer service that's been ranked #1 by J.D. Power 9 times in a row, and flexible plans that you can change anytime. Consumer Cellular is also an approved AARP provider, so members get exclusive discounts. Discover wireless that gives you everything you need for less. Switch to Consumer Cellular today. Call, go online, or find us at Target.
Okay, everyone, our mission is to provide complete balanced nutrition for strength and energy.
Great tasting and sure, with 9 grams of protein, 27 vitamins and minerals, and nutrients to support immune health. Teenage girls abducted.
TV's #1 new drama has everybody talking. 1, 2, 3. Sky returns Tuesday on ABC.
A final note tonight about rescue dogs in the U.S. and the efforts to find them homes. Tonight, a boost in drawing attention to the cause. The newest White House residents have just arrived. First dogs, Champ and Major, 12-year-old Champ, 2-year-old Major, both German Shepherds. The youngest Major, the first rescue dog to live in the White House. The Bidens adopted Major through the Delaware Humane Association, the nonprofit saying it shows the real possibilities for what could happen for all the great dogs who need homes. We loved it. Good night.
This is an ABC News special report. The impeachment of President Donald Trump. Now reporting chief anchor George Stephanopoulos.
Good evening. We're coming on the air right now because the House impeachment managers have gathered to deliver their article of impeachment to the Senate for the second impeachment trial of former President Donald Trump. There you see the scene at the House right now where the House managers, 9 of them, will walk the article of impeachment charging President Trump with incitement of insurrection to the Senate for delivery to the Senate. That article of impeachment will be read on the Senate floor. Again, this is something we have never seen before in all of American history. We're going to go to our senior congressional correspondent, Rachel Scott, there on Capitol Hill. Rachel, walk us through what's going to happen this evening.
Tonight, we are going to see those 9 House impeachment managers walk that article of impeachment charging former President Donald Trump with incitement of insurrection over to the Senate chamber. And George, this is the very same Senate chamber where we saw nearly 3 weeks ago mobs violently try and break in. And then after that, tomorrow we will see these jurors, the senators, the lawmakers here be sworn in, as well as the Senator Patrick Leahy will now be presiding over this. Now you're
There we see the House impeachment managers walking over. Thank you, Rachel. They'll be led by Jamie Raskin, Congressman Jamie Raskin of Maryland, constitutional law professor for more than 25 years at American University, member of the House Judiciary Committee. He will be the lead manager as you see them walk through the rotunda. There had been some talk that they would have to walk with Capitol Police escorts. Of course, this all stemmed from those violence events, the domestic terrorists who took siege of the Capitol on January 6th. 1 week later, the House impeached President Trump for inciting that insurrection. Last week, of course, President Biden became the President of the United States on January 20th, and now the second impeachment trial of President Trump will take place. There will be a bit of a delay after the House managers walk this over, after the article is read. The senators will be sworn in tomorrow, but the trial will not begin until the week of February 8th. That's by mutual agreement between the Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer and the Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell, who had some strong words for President Trump. And unlike his first impeachment, has not ruled out convicting President Trump. But John Carl, our senior Washington correspondent, getting a conviction here, an uphill fight.
George, the math is you need 2/3 of the Senate to vote to convict. 50 Democrats, you're likely to get all 50 of them. That means you need 17 Republicans to vote that Donald Trump is guilty and to vote to convict him. I see that as almost a 0% probability. In the immediate aftermath of the riot, it looked like a real possibility. And look, Mitch McConnell has not said how he would vote. But what you're seeing most of the Republicans say is that they don't believe that this is constitutional. Now that Donald Trump has left office, there's really no need to vote to convict him and remove him from office because he's already gone.
And there you see they have approached the Senate doors. Right now, they've been announced by the acting Sergeant Arms. Of course, the Sergeant Arms for both the House and the Senate were relieved of duty after the events of January 6th. Congressman Raskin, you see him right there, lost a son on New Year's Eve. The 25-year-old son to suicide was actually in the House chamber on January 6th with his other daughter. Described as some of the most terrifying moments of his life, chosen by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to lead this effort right now. And he will be reading that article of impeachment once they walk into the Senate chamber. There you see the President pro tem of the Senate, Patrick Leahy, who, as Rachel Scott said, will be presiding over the trial. Let's listen in. Familiar sight to all you remember is 1 year ago, a little over a year ago, when the House impeachment managers walked over the first article of impeachment against President Trump. the new Majority Leader, Senator Chuck Schumer of New York.
I ask unanimous consent that the quorum call be vitiated.
Without objection. The hour at 7 p.m. having arrived, the acting sergeant at arms will present the managers on the part of the House of Representatives.
Mr. President and members of the Senate, I announce the presence of the managers on the part of the House of Representatives to conduct proceedings on behalf of the House concerning the impeachment of Donald John Trump, former President of the United States.
The managers on the part of the House will be received and escorted to the well of the Senate.
Nine impeachment managers for the House. There were 7 in President Trump's first trial. 13 in the impeachment trial of President Clinton.
Sergeant at arms will make the proclamation.
Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. All persons are commanded to keep silent on pain of imprisonment while the House of Representatives is exhibiting to the Senate of the United States an article of impeachment against Donald John Trump, former President of the United States.
The managers on the part of the House will proceed.
Congressman Raskin, Jimmy Raskin of Maryland.
Mr. President, the managers on the part of the House of Representatives are here and present and ready to present the article of impeachment, which has been preferred by the House of Representatives against Donald John Trump, former President of the United States. The House adopted the following resolution, which with the permission of the Senate, I will read. House Resolution 40 in the House of Representatives, United States, January 13th, 2021, resolved that Mr. Raskin, Ms. DeGette, Mr. Cicilline, Mr. Castro of Texas, Mr. Swalwell, Mr. Liu, Ms. Plaskett, Mr. Neguse, and Ms. Dean are appointed managers to conduct the impeachment trial against Donald John Trump, President of the United States, that a message be sent to the Senate to inform the Senate of the appointments, and that the managers so appointed may, in connection with the preparation and the conduct of the trial, exhibit the article of impeachment to the Senate and take all other actions necessary, which may include the following: employing legal, clerical, and other necessary assistance, and incurring such other expenses as may be necessary to be paid from amounts available to the Committee on the Judiciary under applicable expense resolutions or from the applicable accounts of the House of Representatives. 2, sending for persons and papers and filing with the Secretary of the Senate on the part of the House of Representatives any pleadings in conjunction with or subsequent to the exhibition of the articles of impeachment that the managers consider necessary. Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House of Representatives. With the permission of the Senate, I will now read the article of impeachment. House Resolution 24 in the House of Representatives, United States, January 13th, 2021. Resolved that Donald John Trump, President of the United States, is impeached for high crimes and misdemeanors, and that the following article of impeachment be exhibited to the United States Senate. Article of impeachment exhibited by the House of Representatives of the United States of America in the name of itself and of the people of the United States of America against Donald John Trump, President of the United States of America, in maintenance and support of its impeachment against him for high crimes and misdemeanors. Article 1, incitement of insurrection. The Constitution provides that the House of Representatives shall have the sole power of impeachment, and the President shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. Further, Section 3 of the 14th Amendment to the Constitution prohibits any person who has, quote, engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the United States from holding any office under the United States, unquote. In his conduct while President of the United States and in violation of his constitutional oath faithfully to execute the office of the President of the United States and to the best of his ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States, and in violation of his constitutional duty to take care that the laws be faithfully executed, Donald John Trump engaged in high crimes and misdemeanors by inciting violence against the government of the United States. In that, on January 6, 2021, pursuant to the 12th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States, the Vice President of the United States, the House of Representatives, and the Senate met at the United States Capitol for a joint session of Congress to count the votes of the Electoral College. In the months preceding the joint session, President Trump repeatedly issued false statements asserting that the presidential election results were the product of widespread fraud and should not be accepted by the American people or certified by state or federal officials. Shortly before the joint session commenced, President Trump addressed a crowd at the Ellipse in Washington, D.C. There, he reiterated false claims that we won this election and we won it by a landslide. He also willfully made statements that in context encouraged and foreseeably resulted in lawless action at the Capitol, such as, if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. Thus incited by President Trump, members of the crowd he had addressed in an attempt to, among other objectives, interfere with the joint session's solemn constitutional duty to certify the results of the 2020 presidential election, unlawfully breached and vandalized the Capitol, injured and killed law enforcement personnel, menaced members of Congress, the vice president, and congressional personnel, and engaged in other violent, deadly, destructive, and seditious acts. President Trump's conduct on January 6, 2021 followed his prior efforts to subvert and obstruct the certification of the results of the 2020 presidential election. Those prior efforts included a phone call on January 2nd, 2021, during which President Trump urged the Secretary of State of Georgia, Brad Raffensperger, to, quote, find enough votes to overturn the Georgia presidential election results, and threatened Secretary Raffensperger if he failed to do so. In all this, President Trump gravely endangered the security of the United States and its institutions of government. He threatened the integrity of the democratic system, interfered with the peaceful transition of power, and imperiled a co-equal branch of government. He thereby betrayed his trust as president to the manifest injury of the people of the United States. Wherefore, Donald John Trump, by such conduct, has demonstrated that he will remain a threat to national security, democracy, and the Constitution if allowed to remain in office, and has acted in a manner grossly incompatible with self-governance and the rule of law. Donald John Trump thus warrants impeachment and trial, removal from office, and disqualification to hold and enjoy any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States. Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House of Representatives. Mr. President, that completes the exhibition of the article of impeachment against Donald John Trump, President of the United States. The managers request that the Senate take order for the trial. The managers now request leave to withdraw.
Thank you, Mr. Raskin. And the Senate will duly notify the House of Representatives when it is ready to proceed with the trial. Thank you.
The article of impeachment delivered right there. Congressman Jamie Raskin, lead House impeachment manager. As members of the House impeachment managers, the 9 impeachment managers will now withdraw to the House. The Senate will reconvene tomorrow, where all the senators will be sworn in as jurors in the trial. But as we said, that trial will be postponed until the week of February 8th, giving President Trump time to prepare his defense. I want to bring in Dan Abrams as the president is preparing his defense. We heard John Carl say right now, at least, we know those votes aren't there. The question is what kind of evidence will come forward between now and when the trial begins.
Yeah, I mean, because everything that we just heard is known. We know what the president said at the rally. We know a lot of what the president did and said leading up to the rally. And according to John Carl, that's not enough for most of the Republican jurors. So the question becomes, what else might they find? And I think the only thing that they could find that might make the difference would be something that the president did or didn't do on January the 6th. Not leading up to it, not in the days before, but specifically there on the 6th of January. And that's going to be the question. Can they find anything else? Is there anything else to find?
And Kate Shaw, also a legal analyst, professor of law, Cardozo Law School. It appears that many of the Republican senators want to avoid that question at all, focus on process. They say it's unconstitutional to impeach a former president. Some are raising a question. The fact that Chief Justice Roberts is not going to preside is another reason that this trial is unconstitutional.
Well, George, of course, it's right. We've never had a trial for a former president, but impeachment is a rarely used mechanism in our scheme. We had only ever impeached 2 presidents prior to the administration of Donald Trump. And impeachment is available for other federal officials, and there have been trials of former federal officials, just not former presidents. So in 1876, a cabinet secretary was impeached and tried after resigning. The Senate considered the question of whether it had jurisdiction to hold the trial, but concluded that it did. And, I'm not sure if there's any really decisive evidence that the president's treatment should be different. If the misconduct happens in office, the argument goes, surely the power to impeach, which is the constitutional remedy for high crimes and misdemeanors, should extend to former presidents.
Kate Shaw, thanks very much. Finally, Terry Moran, our senior national correspondent. I don't think it's quite sunk in just how extraordinary this is. We've just watched the president of the United States impeached for a second time, this time for incitement of insurrection, seditious acts against the government he led.
It is extraordinary, George, and there's great drama in this moment and in the coming trial, but there's also dread, I think. Our previous impeachments have been about policy, Andrew Johnson, about personal behavior, Bill Clinton, and to some degree behavior in office with Donald Trump. This is about the insurrection, an attack on our democracy. There's bloodshed, the death mentioned in the article of impeachment itself, and beneath that, this struggle we've been having for a long time, this extreme polarization, not about the direction of our country, but about the nature of the country, the very reality that we live in. And I think resolving that through this is going to be impossible. It's another chapter of these extraordinary politics, the kinds of politics that you see, frankly, in democracies that are in crisis.
Right, where the jurors themselves, the managers bringing the charges, were all witnesses to the events in question. Terry Moran, thanks very much. We're going to return now to our regular programming. Coverage of this will continue on ABC News Live, of course, on Nightline tonight, and I'll see you tomorrow on GMA.
This has been a special report from ABC News.
Bit of a heart attack, but I hope that.
You know what? Somebody brought that to my shop.
Ollie explained it's just a prop. Out of all that mess, Ollie found his long missing favorite thing.
Somebody wrote important eyeglasses.
Oh, geez, I hope they're mine.
Those are yours.
Oh, thanks.
Next, it was time for a car wash. But not just any car wash.
Clearly, it's green. This is mold from sitting outside.
It all gets power washed away, followed by a soapy scrub down. The interior is also steam cleaned. What a stunning transformation.
Here you go. Here's your van.
Ollie couldn't believe it.
Holy cow.
Are you ready to see inside?
Oh, geez.
Floor to ceiling, empty and cleaned. We scrubbed all this, disinfected it.
Holy cow.
I wanted to make sure that we were being, one, respectful of him, but two, I wanted to make the vehicle safe.
Ollie did have one final request.
Too bad you can't come to my house and clean it up.
And Super Bowl 55 will be one for the ages as Patrick Mahomes leads the Chiefs against Tom Brady and the Bucks. And what's the first thing Brady did when they clinched the title? He gave a hug to his son. Everyone's talking about that touching moment between Tom Brady and son. It happened moments after Brady secured his 10th trip to the Super Bowl.
over so nicely, Brady asks a guard if he could talk to his 13-year-old son, Jack. He hugs the boy, and you can hear him say, "I love you, kiddo." Jack is Brady's son with actress Bridget Moynihan. And look, she congratulated her ex on his victory, writing, "Could not be more proud. Tom Brady said he would do it, and he did." Young Jack does not live with Brady, but is said to be very close to Giselle Bundchen and his two half-siblings. Brady's wife Giselle tweeted this photo of her celebrating at home with children Vivian and Benjamin. The Super Bowl in Tampa Bay will be the first time ever that a host city will also have a team in the big game. Brady and the Buccaneers will go up against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. After Sunday's game, Mahomes blew a kiss to his pregnant girlfriend, Brittany Matthews. Oh, you're so cute. So the stage is set. Brady is 43, the oldest player ever to head to the Super Bowl. Mahomes is 25. And here's Brady at his first Super Bowl in 2002. Mahomes was just 6. Who could have predicted 19 years later, this Super Bowl face-off?
Coming up, little girls with uncombable hair.
Closed caption sponsorship for Inside Edition is brought to you by.
Today, strong immunity and better nutrition are essential. That's why Eggland's Best gives you and your family more. And that's healthy news for everyone. Only Eggland's Best.
Stay tuned. There's more Inside Edition to come.
It's a laugh, a smile, a hug, a kiss.
Let Werther's Original Caramels make you feel like someone very special.
A little piece of this. Colgate Optic-White Renewal removes 10 years of yellow stains. That's like all the way back to 2010.
Their jeans, their leggings, their jeggings.
Whoa. Remove 10 years of yellow stains with Colgate Optic-White Renewal.
Tuesday, it's a big premiere night of Games of Life, so break out the popcorn. Yay, yay! This is why I defend you when people say you are a bad father. Anthony Anderson returns, hosting a new season of To Tell the Truth is on, and Tuesday Comedy's back with classics on its new night and time.
It's safe to say that you should never sing along to a rap song, ever.
Followed by the season premiere of Mixed It.
Isn't this fun, kids?
Big premieres, Tuesday at 8/7 Central on ABC.
I've lost 73 pounds with many weight loss. By doing many weight loss, I have learned to eat better, I'm healthier, I have more confidence, and I have more energy. Definitely try out Medi weight loss. They will lose the weight if they want to lose it. It works.
Go in style when it matters most. Go Highlander. Leasing you 2021 Toyota Highlander LE for $329 a month for 36 months. That's just $329 a month for Toyota Highlander. Toyota. Let's go places. It's a fact. We use our internet and TV more than ever, with most of us spending nearly 7 hours a day online. So it's no wonder thousands of families are switching to Spectrum, because most families have up to 8 connected devices, which means they need even more speed. Switch to Spectrum Internet and get the fastest starting speeds for the price. 200 megabits for just $44.99 a month, with a free modem and free security suite included. Call 833-546-4499. When it comes to TV, we're watching more than ever. In fact, 80% of us watch TV every day. Spectrum TV lets you catch all your favorite sports, news, and more live. Plus, download the free Spectrum TV app and watch on your devices. Switch to Spectrum TV from $44.99 a month. Call 833-546-4499. The fact is, Spectrum has the best services at the best price. Switch to Spectrum Internet and TV from $44.99 a month each with no contracts. We'll even buy out your current contract. Call 833-546-4499.
I definitely feel like the before picture is a different person. I have lost over 55 pounds with Medi weight loss. I feel like me now. I mean, I'm wearing this dress that I used to always wear back when I was in college. So all thanks to Medi weight loss.
It's a rare genetic disorder that leaves kids with uncombable hair. Every day is a bad hair day for these little girls. They were born with a rare genetic condition known as uncombable hair syndrome. It affects only
Lord, my stomach is killing me, Jesus. Hello, darling. How are you? We're just getting back from the store. Hope you have a blessing. Thanks for the thumbs up, sweetheart. Not in May's ways.
It's a lot of work for Karen McGowan of Chicago to comb 4-year-old Taylor's hair. We deal with matting all the time. It's something that we have to keep on top of. We have to brush her hair multiple times a day. And sometimes people can be kind of rude. We had people ask us if she stuck her finger in a light socket. Celeste Calvert says combing 10-year-old Charlotte's hair can be a challenge. It doesn't go through any of it. And if I pull too hard, it actually just snaps the hair off. Charlotte has an Instagram page to inspire other children who were born with the syndrome. Dr. Alana Bree says most kids eventually grow out of it. Around the puberty time, that the hair seems to seemingly become a little bit more manageable. By the way, it's believed Albert Einstein had it too. So these kids are in good company. Up next, some amazing moves gone viral.
The closed caption sponsorship for Inside Edition is brought to you by
Abdominal pain or discomfort, bloating? You may be the 1 in 6 living with IBS. Ask your doctor about non-prescription IV Guard for the daily dietary management of IBS. IV Guard, daily gut health.
That's what my stomach hurt like a motherfucker. Give me place. God damn. I need you gonna give me some fucking towel, bro. Shit. Where the fuck your bitch ass at? I used to work out there every day by myself.
Geico claims he is always there for you.
That makes me want to celebrate with some fireworks. 5, 6, 7, 8. Boom, 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 boom.
Geico, great service without all the drama. The flu can hit you hard with fever, aches, and chills, so you need to act fast. Ask your doctor about prescription Zofluza within the first 48 hours of your symptoms. Zofluza treats the flu in people 12 years and older whose flu symptoms started within the last 2 days. Over-the-counter medicines just treat symptoms. Zofluza is different. It attacks the flu virus at its source with just 1 dose. Zofluza can help you feel better in just over 2 days. But your window for prescription treatment is short. Before taking Zofluza, tell your doctor if you're pregnant, nursing, and all the medications you take. Do not take Zofluza if you are allergic to Baloxavir marboxil or any of the ingredients in Zofluza. If you develop an allergic reaction, call your doctor immediately. The most common side effects are bronchitis, nausea, diarrhea, sinusitis, and headache. The sooner your doctor prescribes Zofluza, the sooner you can start feeling like you, not the flu. Zofluza, 1 dose can do it. Visit Zofluza.com to download a coupon.
I ain't gonna come home.
A racial
You for 3 days now.
They got a goddamn 50 inches of the same goddamn price.
I'm getting a boy.
When we got 50 inches, might as well get the goddamn 50 inches.
I'm getting it tomorrow, boy.
Well, what the hell you get, honey?
This will be mine. I want to do it. You watch the damn thing. No, I want to. That's your ticket.
Life's full of little accidents. And the Hyundai Tucson helps make sure they stay little by alerting you if you drift out of your lane and even gently correcting your steering.
Or a substantial one-time gift to TBN. As our thank you for your gift of support in any amount, we're going to rush you Joel Osteen's latest book, Empty Out the Negative. And as we turn the page on the challenge of 2020, it's a must read. Put your shoulders back, hold your head high, and remember who you are and whose you are. My friends, your generous tax-deductible gift helps TBN bring the gospel of salvation to the needy world. Operators are standing by right now. Don't delay. Please call.
It's only a matter of time until your check engine light comes on, or worse yet, your car needs repair. That could mean a big surprise auto repair bill. Those repairs are more expensive than ever. A new engine can be over $5,000. A new transmission over $4,000. That's why it's so important you call CarShield today. CarShield is the #1 auto protection company in the country.
I like CarShield.
Yeah, I put it on TJ. It's already on there. 560. Oh, there we go.
Choose healthier.
Oh, Lord.
That is in the
New year, new smile. It costs up to 60% less than braces. Go from this to this.
That's what I need.
And start seeing results in as little as 60 days. Start your New Year smile for free at smiledropplus.com.
I only know alcohol for 2 weeks, man. Great. That's my bill telling me you need more goddamn beer. Wine. I don't know.
Luckily, I'm a member of American Home Shield. My plan helps cover the cost when parts on more than 20 home
I
appliances.
also got 4 people.
Interstate home insurance doesn't, no matter their age. It's a beautiful day. I have a 6-month-old, so we go through about 1 million onesies a minute. Recently, our washer stopped working mid-cycle, so I requested service and someone came out to fix it. Easy. Our budget was protected and the onesies are back in full rotation. Get a plan, get peace of mind, and keep your home running smoothly. Call for a free quote, 800-898-5293. That's 800-898-5293. Did you know American Home Shield has over 45 years of experience in the home warranty business? That means they know what they're doing, which is great because this situation takes some expertise to take care of.
American Home Shield is the largest and pays the most home warranty claims.
Mr. Bingo! Mr. Bingo!
Today's my dryer, tomorrow might be
Bingo!
but that's okay. I have a plan to run electronics.
I've never felt so good. American Home Shield. Find the right plan for you. 800-898-5293. That's 800-898-5293. We're Thrive Cosmetics. We create high-performance, cruelty-free, 100% vegan formulas designed to empower you. We love that you love our products, like our award-winning liquid lash extensions mascara. Created with our mascara creates showstopper lashes that our community can't get enough of. Seriously, we sold one every 5 seconds. Plus, with our fingers and beauty mistakes,
Oh, Lord.
you helped us donate over $100 million to products. Join our mission today.
I never thought I would laugh about some shit like that. Oh my God, that's epic. TD Jake fan, y'all. Hey. That's oh, wow.
Oh, I got one.
God damn. What the fuck is that watching? About 550.
Welcome to another episode of Access TV's A Year in Music. 1980 is an Olympic year and the start of the
Oh, they still good. What time is it? Yeah. This is for getting a minute. Yeah, man, they had to update this shit. That was when you pay for your people. I need a goddamn credit card. I need something, give me money, not like, what, goddamn. So I'm about out of here. Since I picked this right damn, what's next? That damn mask, and I'm done. Come on, nobody. Come on, Jesus, put this shit on. I need to give me some gospel. No, I'm gonna watch that, man. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Oh, I need to stop the goddamn mouth. Think about that. Oh, this shit ain't.
Team wins the gold medal game versus Cold War enemy, the Soviet Union, in the Miracle on Ice.
To add insult to injury, the U.S. and 81 other nations boycott the Soviet Summer Games in Moscow.
The last in a standoff against communism.
But in 1980, the Soviets are still rocking out.
Why you got on TV?
Goddamn.